Yeah, today we're going to talk about undergrad architecture school portfolio, which can be very intimidating for those who are coming straight out of high school and have not really thought too much about architecture before. And if you have very little time to work on it, this video is for you. Today we're going to talk about making architecture portfolio as fast as you can. Portfolio is an essential part of architectural profession. It shows your experience and skill level and your past experiences. You need it for going to school, applying for scholarships, or even finding jobs, obviously. Each portfolio tends to have slightly different expectations. Today we want to talk more specifically about admission portfolios for undergrad architecture students. Now, tip number one is to forget about what architecture portfolio should be. When you normally think about architecture portfolio, you might just think of technical drawings and maybe images of buildings. But undergrad portfolio for architecture can be very flexible, as long as you can express you have interest and passion for humanity and well-being. As long as you can express that effectively, you will be a very strong candidate. So mediums can include things like performance, music, or photography, anything, as long as you can relate your story to architecture and the reasons why you want to go into architecture. If you haven't prepared your portfolio specifically for architecture and you don't know what to add into your portfolio and you have some time, here's my most recommended step, which is to make architectural models. Now, I'm not talking about those serious architecture models that you see at a company or open houses, made of like museum boards and basswood and like plexiglass. Not talking about that. I think, especially for students who are coming out of high school and with little access and knowledge about how these materials can behave and where to get them, pick up any material around your house and anything that kind of looks interesting. Try to put them together into a little sculptures that you can feel interested in that object. Basically make fun things out of random stuff. My portfolio for Waterloo School of Architecture was mostly sculptures that are made of easily found household objects, such as paper and wooden sticks and some cloths. After dabbling in architecture for almost 7 years, I see why this model is effective and interesting for those who are in the field. Longtime professionals and professors are probably even tired of basswood and sleek architectural models. Sometimes these household objects applied in a creative way to create spatial experience can be really striking, and actually they're exciting even to this day. And something that we tend to forget as we study architecture and look at other models. And I would even recommend this for students and professionals who are in the field right now. Be creative and try different materials. And materials tend to inspire you in a way that you don't expect. I think the best precedent for this is to look at So Fujimoto's household found objects sculptures, which is coming on the screen right now, or I'll link in the description. Lastly, be creative. And these creative explorations that you do right now might stick around for the rest of your career, so keep going. You might think this is obvious, but you'll be surprised to see how underrated sketching is, or how easily they are forgotten at the workplace or at school. Sketching real life or imaginary objects allows you to think critically and observe things the way they are, which is very crucial in architecture. And try to find all your past experiences into architecture. Even when you studied something completely different like cinematography or typography, I think they're all relatable and you can make arguments about how you can become a great architect. For example, when I was in high school, I thought I'll become a movie maker. So I studied a lot about film, and then we went out to shoot films with my friends, and I ended up using a lot of film for my portfolio. And it turns out film is very relevant to architecture as well. If you think about it, we have to deal a lot with lighting, experiences, narrative, and angles. And in many ways, architecture can be seen as creating a film. One of the most renowned architects, Rem Koolhaas, was a screenwriter at some point in his life. I As long as you can make a good argument, it'll become a good portfolio. So think about that. And lastly, think about the narrative. Pay attention to how you can keep the readers interested. Tell your story about how you evolved. How you present your work is basically a first impression of you. As with any kind of art, you have to think about how you're going to engage your audience. It's not just about showing your work, but also keeping them interested, get them invested in you. So think about what kind of story you're telling, the way you're laying things out. Even subtle hints like that can leave a great impression of you. I think that's about it for today. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of this kind of video, then subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.